So typically what you'll normally see in a very big bull market like we're experiencing right now in gold and a lot of the stock market right now is, yes, we're in a very big bull market right now and things are crazy, things are vertical, things are in the bubble territory. But typically what ends up happening is, as you can see back here when it comes down to gold, is yes, we could be in something like this here, but you'll notice something here. Notice how when the market, we've been in a very big bull market, the market would typically have one big blow off move towards the end, and then we have a sharp drop down. This whole pattern here is about the signal towards the end, but I believe we're getting very similar. We're likely to get something really similar to the actual gold chart right now, and that's what I want to walk you through, guys, within today's video about this here. So one thing that I'm seeing right now, guys, when it comes to the actual the markets here right now, there's a lot of, obviously, it's like, man, this thing's been going up this has been going up for a long time. When's the end in? And so on and so forth. Now, one thing I do believe is, as I said before, that one thing that typically happens in these markets is, especially when you're getting the patterns like you're seeing right now in gold, is gold will typically to end big bull markets and vertical moves like we're experiencing right now, even in the stock market. Especially in the S&P and the NASDAQ, those markets out there, they will typically have a very big move. They will typically have what's called a blow-off phase, an absolute blow-off phase. And once again, if I go back to this point through here, you'll see this is really similar. This point through here from 09, 010, 011, this point through here is really similar to this point through here. Is really similar to what we've been experiencing right now in the gold market, where we've been in a major stair step to the upside. We've had a very big move to the upside, this low, high, low, high, low, high, low, and high, low period, as you can see, and then the moving average comes up. So, and as you can see, what ended this big bull market? It was a blow off top, right? But as you can see, a lot of the times, the bull market continued because we got this stair stepping fashion. Up and then sideways, up and then sideways, up, little pullback, up, little pullback, up, little pullback. And then we had this big vertical move to, see that big vertical spike through there? That big vertical spike was what? Now telling you, this is now, we're getting a vertical spike after the market's been going up now for a couple of years. That's now signaling that the bull market is now coming to an end, and we're now likely to either go through an then a very big correction, or at least a 50% correction on the downside, or B, like we experienced here, or we can get a lot more sort of frothiness. You can see here the market we did end up going sideways, and then we started to make our way down from there, right? As you can see, and then if I bring this up to here, this is the GLD price, as you can see, and then we go through these fashions from here. So you can see that every single one of these bull markets, these very big bull markets right now, typically end in vertical moves. So there's probably one more big push coming out of gold. This is the GLD price now. This is the gold price here. So looking at that big vertical spike back there, and we're here, if history repeats itself, which most bull markets do, is we're probably likely to get one more push to the upside out of gold. And so when that happens, we're probably likely to see this one more final push to the upside here. Bear in mind, guys, the hardest thing about trading is what you're going to experience here is you're going to experience a lot of noise in the markets. That's it. Gold's going to 10,000. That's it. It's all over. The debt bubble's exploding. Gold's worrying. The gold investors are worried about the debt bubble exploding. That's it. It's the end of the dollar. And you're going to hear a lot of these noise in the marketplace. Do not be fooled about that, because that's called noise. The noise is just reporting on what's happening through there. Just step back a bit and really have a think about what we're doing right now and what's happening here. And you want to be playing the odds on your side here, right? So if we do get something like that, that's the first sign that we're getting towards the end of this big, massive bull market for the last couple of years in gold. First sign. The second sign to say that it's now massive probability it's over is how fast it comes down. Because as you can see here, right, look at this here, up, sideways, up, little pullback, up, sideways. If we then get suddenly, instead of it being sideways like that, If we then suddenly get something like that going on, more like a V top formation, now guess what? Now we're talking about it actually creating this V top formation, and then we're likely to see, the end of the big bull market. And then we're likely to see, that's probably going to be the sign that the recession is now getting very, very close. And then that goes in the side of what I believe is the recession coming next year. And that's where the stock market's likely to peak and have a big drop on the downside and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm seeing there from gold, guys. Just don't be sort of fooled from there. If I bring up, let me actually show you, I'll show you an example here of, wrong one, right? Let me show you an example of what I mean from here, of how this ends up working out, right? So this is a trade that I did recently. It was a trade, right? A trading opportunity. And as you can see, this is race here. And this is how all markets typically work, right? You have a couple of major stair steps, goes sideways. And notice this here. Notice how we actually had a shallow pullback, right? And up, little pullback, up, sideways, up, but then we had a much more sharper drop to the downside. See how this is more like a V top formation? Then look what's happened with race. It's gone sideways, right? This here was the end of the bull market. That last final push is the end of the bull market, and now we're just doing nothing for, what's that? What is that? Ever since that happened, because I remember taking this trade, that's been over 12 months, that's been over 1 year now of doing nothing. That's what you can expect out of gold. You can expect now about a 1 year after this final push, about a 1 year sort of what's called resting phase, because the markets go through these phases, right? And again, you saw it back here. If I go to the GOD price, well, you see it with all markets, you know what I mean? So, for example, you saw it back here. When the market has a good, so this is a good, say, 2 years worth of big bull market. Then we end up going through a good couple of years. This one lasts a little bit longer, and then they go through there. So you see how this typically happens most of the time when you get a good, and this is where the big danger, right? The big dangers in these markets. And one thing that I've learned from Howard Marks, Ray Dalio, and it just makes common sense as well too, is that one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of traders are making and do make is they see what has done well is likely to continue doing really well. But as you know, when it comes down to, say, cycle analysis, right? And if I bring up, say, this cycle here, when it comes to this cycle here, when is the best time to get involved with it? When people are what? Is it when markets are booming and things are going up? No, right? Because there's a cycle to these markets. The cycle to these markets is showing you when we should be looking at things. And this is where, if you see, then most markets, stock market right now is up through here. Stock market, even the metals, stock market, gold, silver, even the mining sector is up through this point here right now. And I'll show you the reasons why in just a minute. But when things have been going up pretty strongly for 1 year, 2 years, you know you're getting very close towards that peak. So even for you mining stock traders, be very cautious around where we are right now, because I believe we're out here right now. Down the bottom here is there's one market down the bottom here which I'm focusing on, which is TMF. If I bring up this screenshot here, TMF or TLT, whatever one you want to really look at. Actually, I'll bring this one up through here, right? So this is the weekly charts here. And if I bring on the TLT, because it's a much more better here, I believe that we're getting very, very close towards a bottom in the markets. Why? Because once again, if you go to these cycles of things, where most traders are focused on what? AI stocks and so on and so forth. And once again, one of the biggest mistakes that I've learned from the legends of this field, Howard Marks, right, Ray Dalio, is, and it just makes sense, is that the uneducated investor, when they see markets and the markets have done well, they focus, they go, okay, they think what has done well is likely to continue doing really well. And you know that's, for you guys who have been around the markets now, I have to say, I've been trading the markets now for 20 years myself, right? And one of the things that I'm always talking about this with my 1% group, because I have a group that I'm with every single day, right? And it's called the 1% group, because what we achieve in there is only what 1% of the actual entire traders around the world actually achieve. And again, I'm with them for a couple of hours every single day, from 1, sometimes up to 2 hours per day, walking them through the markets and walking them through like this, coaching them, guiding them about trade selection, powerful trade management, what's going on right now, and so on and so forth. If you need like more, if you are serious about this, and you'd like to get more hand-holding help every single day, where you can be part of a real small group, there's only around 15 people in that group. If you'd like to join that group where I can really coach you and guide you and help you through this process, because I know I can, through all this sort of stuff, and also on top of that, to make sure you're thinking the right thoughts, then that second link in the description there, guys, click on that. That's an application form. Click on that and you can go apply for that, and that's actually an application form, and you're personally speaking with me on the phone, and I'll walk you through all this sort of stuff, because you know yourself, right? What's likely to come over the next 5 years? People are going to get destroyed. If what I'm talking about here right now, where a lot of people, there's a lot of euphoria here, even people right now from a trading perspective are probably looking massive longs, here we go, but we're probably likely to go through a recession soon. We know that. When the recession happens, guess what? Those who are uneducated, especially not part of my 1% group, are going to get destroyed. But my 1% group, guess what? We're ready for it. Not only are we ready for it, but we're like to take advantage of it. So looking at things like where we are right now in the sort of the where people are angry at, as you can see here, most people are focusing on gold, the mining sector, the stock market. Right, and people like bond market, like, TOT, TMF, forget that, and so on and so forth. So that's where I believe some really good trading opportunities over the next, for the next couple of years. I believe there's going to be a really good buying opportunity. But what I want to see is a final push down here. I want to see something like this. I want to see where the market actually has a final push down like that, and then it completely then turns right around like that. If we can get something like that on TOT, and then obviously TMF, then I believe the TMF is likely to then start to create a bit of big bottom. And as I've actually put some notes here for myself, a break above 45 to 50, right through here, 45 to 50 would confirm the first higher high since 2021. And as you know, since 2021, we've been in a significant downward trend from there. So if we can get that where we get a flush down first, then a reversal, especially if we get a reversal, then back up above 50, high. That was the last significant high low. If we get that, then we're likely to pull back for a little bit, and then we're likely to start a new upward trend, which was then see interest rates going down. So, and the reason I'm talking about this here is because you can see here, if I go to this, say for example, even from silver, right? This is the silver here. So I'm expecting one more final push out of silver as well too. And then it's probably likely to end from there, right? We're probably here, and we're probably likely to see something like this happening with silver over the next month or two. And then we're likely to see silver come down as well too. And if we look at, say, even for example, the mining sector, right? If you actually look at the mining sector, look at this move in the mining sector. It's been just absolutely vertical. So right now, look at this here, from there to there. Look at that big move from there to there. It has made a very big astronomical move since this 2025 low period from here, as you can see. So this whole period through there has been, as you can see, for the last 1 year, has been really strong. And in fact, if you actually look at this here, you can actually see that when we actually really started the back down here in 2024, we had a very big move up, then a little pullback and another very big move up. Guess where we're at right now, right? We're getting very close towards this sort of going towards the end. So while I see gold having a big move, another one more leg to the upside, for you traders out there that's looking for shorter term opportunities, there could be something happening there as well too. Again, there's no guarantees. This is not me giving you a recommendation thing out there. It may not work out. It could be a false breakout and you could lose a lot of money, right? So don't listen to me. This is not any recommendations at all. But looking at this level from here, we can see that we're probably likely to push to the upside on the GDX. The GDXJ, same sort of thing, right? The same sort of situation. Look at this here. Really, since the bottom of 2024, we've been in a very big sort of move to the upside. And it's continued to be a very strong move to the upside. So this whole move that we're seeing right now is probably likely to end real soon. And there's a lot of frothiness. And once again, if we go look at this map here, I'm seeing mining sector, gold, silver, stock market being around this level for me. Even the crypto market, right? And we see what happens with the crypto market, right? Like let me bring this up to here. This is the, let me show you what, with the crypto market. We just know if I go to Bitcoin, look at Bitcoin right now, right? Bitcoin's falling off a cliff. And that's because what? As you know, as what I said before, right? Because Bitcoin has been going up for so long, for so many years. Look at this this is the weekly chart here. Look at this here, up and up and up. Do you know what's happening right now? Guess what's happening right now? So many people now are starting to pile in up here. And I know some people, in fact, I know one person on the internet who is focused, his whole business is helping businesses advertise on YouTube. But yet, that's his whole business. And now he's doing videos around Bitcoin and so on and so forth. Now, I don't love or hate Bitcoin. What I'm talking about here is that bull markets end. And because these big bull markets look at Bitcoin, it just keeps going up. And now I'm starting to see the warning signs that people are massively bullish on this Bitcoin move. And now we're starting to get frothiness. So don't be too surprised if we get a very big, massive sort of shakeout here on the Bitcoin market where we see a very big here. And it looks like, when we're looking at here, it looks like we're getting very, very close to a false breakout, which means the end of the bull market, right? This point through here, look at that through there. If I take the moving average off the screen here, right, as you can see, look at this here. Because look, normally what happens is what? Right, you have a breaking of the high, we run up. That's a high point through there. It comes back down, we hold, run out. Look at this here. Resistance. It's popped back up sideways. And now we're probably likely to do something like that. Right? So the purpose of me saying this here is, once again, the mentality around, Bitcoin's been doing well for the last 2 years. So it's probably likely to do really well for the next 2 years. And if you just look at the way these markets actually work, if you actually look at the way these charts work, you would know that that's not the case, right? We go up for a while, we go up for a few years, and then we make a big drop in the markets. So by looking at that, and then now going back to, say, for example, the stock market, right? Where the NASDAQ is probably likely to have one more push to the upside, maybe, right? But then we're probably now at the last 10 to 15% of the move, which can be quite strong, by the way, right? And then there's going to be a lot of bullishness around the markets and so on and so forth. That's the NASDAQ there. And this is the S&P 500 here as well too. So there's a lot of bullishness here. So while I see one more push coming out of these markets from here and one more leg to the upside, just remember, guys, where we're at right now, okay? And just keep in mind this mentality here that if you're understanding these markets, especially buying these markets and so on and so forth, and understand these markets, what has done really well for the last couple of years, and even like this big shape recovery, is it's likely to not end really well. And just remember as well too, right? No matter what market you're looking at, if anything does this big vertical move like we're seeing here right now, it always ends in a very sharp and hard, fast snapback. Now, if the market goes through here and we have another move to the upside, then we're probably likely to see something like this going on in the market, right? So something like this, and then a very sharp drop to the downside from there. And so we can see that that's what's going on there. So for trading purposes, meaning for a trade that's likely to last, maybe a couple of weeks or more, yeah, I'm all over these markets. I'm all over silver right now. I'm all over the mining sector right now. When it comes down to the gold market for me, right? This is the gold market for me. I truly believe, and I honestly believe, if I take everything off the screen here, I honestly believe this is gold looking out. Actually, I'll bring up this chart here. I honestly believe that because gold is getting ready for another move to the upside. I'm waiting for a nice, good breakout of this sort of. Actually, I'll bring this back up here, right? I'm waiting for gold to give me a really nice move because I do see this thing squeezing up like this level through here. If we start to break up, we start to go for a move, then once again, yes, we're probably likely to go for a strong move, but it's likely to be short-lived. So if I do get involved with this, which I'm not in gold right now, I still need to wait for my entry signal from the gold chart there just bear in mind and keep your emotions in check, because the noise is going to say, here we go, gold 5,000, gold 10,000. You're going to hear that noise, right? Just like we've been hearing in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's now starting to froth out as well too. But just remember, guys, the last time when this happens and we get the very big vertical move to the upside, it's likely to be the end of we're getting towards the end of this big bull market, not the start.